Hi everybody, I'm Sue Ellen Clayton. Welcome to my channel where we'll be learning the tarot cards one card at a time. Today's card is number 9 in the Major Arcana, and that is the Hermit. I am using the Rider-Waite Tarot deck, and you'll find the link below this video. I've also linked to the many books I've used for my research. In this video, we'll discuss what the Hermit card means when it appears in a reading, the symbolism of this card, the meaning of the Hermit card when it is upright and reversed, including some examples from my life. And at the end, I'll provide you with some questions to help you better connect with the Hermit card. So let's get started. The word hermit is based on a Greek term meaning in the desert. It refers to people who devote their lives to religious study. Hermits turn away from the world so they can be closer to God. They live lives of prayer and introspection, far away from the material world. In this card, we see a hermit with a long white beard who is gazing downward. He is standing on top of a snowy mountaintop. He is wearing a gray cloak. In his right hand is a lantern that is emitting some light, but not enough to light up the sky. In his left hand is a staff. The background is a gray-green color. This card demonstrates that we have all the answers within us, but it takes solitude and going inward to find them. It also represents that help is available to light your way if you choose to ask for it. So let's talk about some of the symbols in the Hermit card. His long white beard represents age and wisdom. He is standing on top of a mountain. The mountain represents his knowledge and accomplishments. Being at the top of the mountain indicates that he's at a place where he can look down and review his life. It also shows that he's reached a state of enlightenment. He is wearing a gray cloak. Gray is the lack of color. It shows that recognizing your own path is more important than having flashy clothing. His hood is up, which indicates blocking out the outside world. His head is gazing downward and his eyes are closed. This posture indicates that he is looking inward, unlike the fool we saw in card number 0, who is standing on a mountain with his arms open and looking at the sky. The gray robe also shows that he's too busy to focus on material things. Instead, he's focused on soul-searching, self-awareness, spiritual guidance, and enlightenment. In his right hand is a lantern that illuminates the path just ahead of him. He has light, but it doesn't show him his entire journey. However, he does have faith that his path will be shown as he moves forward. Inside the lantern, we see a 6-pointed star that represents the seal of Solomon. This is based on the signet ring that belonged to Israel's King Solomon that is depicted as a 6-pointed star. It is a symbol of wisdom. The 6-pointed star is the Star of David, which is the sign of 2 triangles, heaven and earth, and the divine light within us. In his left hand is a yellow staff. The staff has several meanings. It is a sign of authority. It is also a sign that he is supporting himself. The color comes from the light from the lantern. It represents the light that every person brings into the world. It shows that he has assimilated his life experiences and is now able to provide a light to other people. The sky is a very unusual gray-green color that represents withdrawal from the outside world. He is standing on top of a snowy mountaintop. This represents a long journey to the top of the mountain. The white snow can represent a new beginning or having part of yourself freeze over and no longer be accessible. When the Hermit appears upright in a reading, it indicates that you are seeking the truth. It might also indicate that it is time to take a step back from the distractions of daily activities and spend some time alone. It might represent that you could benefit from solitude to look inward, gain self-awareness, and connect with spirit. Or it might be time for you to connect with a spiritual mentor. You might also consider pursuing a more spiritual path. That could include reading spiritual books or learning meditation. So an example from my own life, I have worked with a spiritual mentor and it has been incredibly helpful. I have always been very intuitive. However, I felt like a failure whenever I've taken meditation classes because I'm not visual. So the teachers would lead us through a meditation in, say, a medieval garden, and we'd be walking past statues and flowers and birds and butterflies and along a tunnel and onto a throne so we could, see our life unfolding. And I could see nothing. And I'd keep my mouth shut during discussions because I had nothing to say and was, frankly, a little ashamed at how terrible I was. And seriously, I cannot visualize a straight line. So working with a spiritual mentor taught me that I had major skills, even though I lacked the ability to visualize things. I feel stuff in my gut, and that's okay. So this was really life-changing for me, and I realized I wasn't a failure. I just experienced things differently than most of the people I'd studied with. When the Hermit reversed appears in a reading, it can indicate that you are too busy and it is time for you to take a break, or that you are being too isolated or too cautious. It may also mean that it's time for you to stop being alone and to connect with others, or it is time to connect with parts of yourself that have been frozen and hidden away. This card can represent somebody who refuses to grow up, and it can also represent someone who has been exiled from their community. So an example from my life, I wasn't reading tarot during COVID, but the readers I know all said the same thing, that the Hermit card came up over and over again. I live on Long Island, New York, and we were a hot spot for COVID. We were all living like hermits, and I know that I was incredibly nervous to go back out into the real world. The Hermit reversed gave me the message that it was time to re-enter the world after a period of solitude. So here are some ideas of how you can connect with the Hermit. First of all, are you on the right path in life? Are you comfortable knowing just the next couple of steps, or do you want to know everything that will happen in your future? Number 2, how do you find light during dark periods in your life? Number 3, is it time for you to take a time out and retreat from the world? Number 4, are you spending too much or too little time in solitude and self-reflection? And number 5, is it time to find a mentor? In what areas of your life do you need guidance? I'd love for you to post your answers in the comments below, and then please join me for the next video when we discuss card number 10, the Wheel of Fortune.